All right. Okay. CSGO agenda here. And I'm just popping in for a second. My internet's actually down, so I'm going to upload this later. But quick little rant here about a few things I've noticed in the meta of the game recently. So one is that there's been a much more passive playstyle. A little bit more European as far as like holding pushes and then also coordinating timed pushes T side. And it's just something to be aware of, and is good, bad, I don't really know. As a aggressive entry player, it's makes the game a little bit more interesting for me because you can't just push spots. There's like people hiding in little corners, so it's great. Let's see. First thing I just want to rant about is throwing. So I just got pissy in a matchmaking. It's matchmaking. Whatever. It's late. People are pretty casual. But I asked for a weapon drop, and someone just like they didn't drop. They had plenty of money. They didn't buy themselves. And it just pissed me off. Like throwing from an OG perspective, from someone who takes the game seriously, from a professional player's perspective, like you don't give away any rounds, period. Like I don't know if it's a weird night and your team's like getting drunk and you guys decide you want to start trolling or something, maybe like I don't know, that's like a whole different thing. But like generally when we're playing the game of Counter-Strike, we don't give away any rounds. And that round, because he didn't drop me a weapon, because he didn't buy himself, basically started out the round like 3v5. And whatever, they probably don't care. And people are buying shotguns and fucking negevs anyway. It's silver, so who gives a fuck, right? But I do. Just because it's a casual thing for people to come in and like spam the mic, or even if it's not just like saying racist things and purposely like overtaking the mic with spam. Sometimes people just come in with a lot of swag and like, oh, this game is whatever about the game. It's like it's just disrespectful. So when you get into a server, a little bit of banter with your teammates and like checking their mics or whatever, like it's good to build a little bit of chemistry. But you just come in and like just fucking start talking like for 8 hours about your day or something like that. it's inappropriate. And I could speculate that possibly the teammate, he didn't drop me the weapon because I'm a girl, and when I was like, will you asking him for something, he was trying to be like sexist about it, like, oh, I have my own girlfriend or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, it's like even worse. It was like you're not dropping your teammate a weapon because they're fucking female and not male. That's retarded. Anyway, so of course it's gonna like tilt me just a little bit, but in general, I think that like Face It Premium is worth it to pay for me, even if I don't play that frequently, because there aren't the throwers in the game, and also with matchmaking and free Face It, I tend to get vote kicked a lot, not just for being a girl, but also for being tryhard or whatever. Which I think is pretty hilarious, actually. It's very annoying when I get kicked and then my internet goes down. So, like, I don't get to play another game. And it's just like, you have no idea. Like, that was my last chance to get frags for the night. Anyways, okay, so I just want to put it out there that there is this standard in the game about respect and respect for the game. And it's not like anything personal. Like, it's like, I bet when I left that game because my internet dropped, but they probably think that I was toxic and that I left because I was mad or something, right? But it's just sort of people need to understand that there is a certain level of respect necessary to, take the game seriously. And I don't really care, like, if the team won that round, but if they didn't win that round, or like, and they don't care about losing a couple rounds, and then it's just like, you know, I don't like that. Like, I don't care if ultimately then we end up winning the game. If you're giving away rounds to the other team, that's not cool. So yeah, as far as throwing in any way, shape, or form, whether it be not buying your teammate a gun or something like that, um, to me is just completely unacceptable. Like, you don't belong playing this game in any semi-competitive level. Um, I guess you could technically call competitive matchmaking a competitive level, even though it's not the competitive version of the game. And I've gone through this, but it is still styled around competitive style play with the 5v5, and it should be respected as such. So that means when you come into the server, you have so much time in warm up. That's your time to like get to know your team, whatever you want to do with that. But then once the timer starts, you don't just like start talking about your deck. Like, I can't hear the other team pushing at the beginning of the round. I'm in position. It's quiet. I need to hear. And there's people just like on and on about all kinds of stuff. And I just want to say that is not cool. It's not like it's not okay, and it's also not cool. Like, it doesn't, like, it doesn't make you any like, people aren't going to like you anymore in the game. They'll like you if you do your job and you follow the objective, if you work as a team, or if you clutch. And none of those things have really much to do with like how your day was or whatever. Anyway, since my internet's down, I picked a fabulous screenshot here for you guys. And I had definitely one other thing on my list that I wanted to rant about. There is, especially in, I'd say, like the lower or intermediate levels, even like I'm not sure, um, what levels people consider themselves at, but basically, there's so many times at the end of the round in a 1v1 or a 1v2 or 2v1, 2v2, whatever it is, where I'm seeing people just push the enemy with like a scout or a op, or I mean, even a rifle. Like, in certain scenarios, like if you're mid on Inferno and they're in the boiler and you have an M4, like, you're gonna have so much better of an advantage if you just pull out your pistol. That, I mean, you know, I'm not saying these are hard and fast rules, because as soon as I say you can never run and gun with a scout, of course, everybody's run and gunning with the scout, and some people do it excellently. Like, I can't do a damn thing with the scout, so kudos to them, but it's not consistent. And there's nothing that you can say or do to tell me, like, even if you run out mid and can consistently hit this headshot, in a 1v1, it's completely different. So running out and getting entries with a scout or an op, or a Negev or whatever, like, I mean, I can't necessarily do it, but that doesn't mean other people can't. And that's perfectly fine and appropriate. But when you are in a 1v2 situation, or you are in a 1v1 situation, especially when you're in a 1v1 situation, and all of the work that your team has done is resting on your shoulders, and this is kind of related to what we were just talking about, because even if you're trying, it could be a potential throw. If you do something stupid, like push the guy in boiler from mid with a scout, okay? And I just, like, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, I'm seeing this, and I get it. Like, a lot of people are still learning the game, and these are some of the finer points of the game. So as you get up in, like, learning how to, like, maneuver, like the mechanics of the game and stuff, if I don't know. I just see a lot of circle jerking in the game, so I'm gonna tell people straight what's up. If I see you make this mistake, every single time I'm gonna say pull out your pistol. I'm not gonna tell you while you're clutching because that's rude when you're dead to instruct someone. But after the fact, and say, oh, you should have pulled out your pistol, or maybe something like the best oppers are the best pistolers. That's something I've said probably to a lot of people, that I thought were really good oppers that should stick with the op, but also just as a good advice, like if they want to be semi-pro or consistent with it, that they need to be extremely confident with all of the different pistols, regardless of, of course, basically your default Glock or P2000 or USP. But preferably all the pistols, and really just generally to like all of the fucking peons out there, like your crosshair is your crosshair. It doesn't really matter how powerful the weapon is that you have. It doesn't matter what the spray pattern is. Like if you could consistently put your crosshair somewhere around dude's head, your USP or your Glock is not that much inferior to your AK or your M4. I mean, technically, yes, one shot from your Glock or one shot from your AK is a very big difference. But if you can consistently hit a couple bullets from your Glock at the dude's head, like he's dead. Doesn't matter if he has head armor or not. So all of that is about swag. All right. 100% pistols are my favorite weapons in the game, and pistol rounds are essentially what make or break the game, especially at a high level. Because once you get that momentum and you get the gun momentum and you have the skills, and it's pretty much, that's why professional players have to learn how to grind in the game. You have to know how to be able to come back from a 14-2 scenario and like keep grinding back, because before you know it, it's your or say it's more like 12-2, and but before you know it, it's 12-6 or 13-6, and you can kind of like start to build back up a little bit of that momentum in your team. And even if you can do that for a little bit each game, and like in your practice games, then you can kind of hopefully string it all together when it matters. Because experimenting is great too. You don't want to be stagnated. But definitely what I was just saying, 100% about the pistols, just mad swag. But you also, not just you oppers, all of you players, especially if you aspire to be better in the game, should be 100% comfortable just naked with your pistol. And once you get it, you will probably do weird things that you'll see pro players do, like buy full head armor and a USP or like whatever, because it's like if you can just stay alive long enough, you can ace with it. Like you practice, and anyways, so yeah, that makes it, so the other team has to do different things. Smoke splashes counter, and obviously the pistol doesn't have the long range like a rifle does, but the game is sort of made, or I'm going to say, it's sort of made or broken by like those clutch rounds, the 1v2s, the 1v1s, the 1v3s. Because that's how you make up ground for your team. Like if your team's blowing or whatever, you can come in and pick up a 3K and a defuse, or pick up a 2K and a defuse, or drop a 2K and get the bomb planted. Even if they defuse, you still get bomb money. You're still getting money. You're building economy. You're building momentum for your team. So yeah, pistol rounds make or break the game at the higher levels, because it gives you that momentum. And if you get cocky with that and you overstep, then the other team might be able to kill you, take your guns, and flip it up back on you. But again, you're going to learn how to be able to recover that by being able to actually do something with a pistol. So anyways, yeah, that's my rant today. I just wanted to get that all off my chest. No, seriously though. So, one, there's a passive style going on in the game right now. I'm gonna guess it's people were watching a bunch of Euro Pro matches, and this is just like people don't realize it, but they're all watching it at the same time, and so they're all starting to get the kind of same ideas at the same time. It's not like people are like coordinating with each other, going like, "Oh, let's rip off this team," but things will come around in the game, trends, and they'll happen pretty fast too. Like if you take even a day off in the game on the professional level, like you're missing out like 20 hours of shit basically. Like interesting. I find that very interesting. I also find that I've made some of the best improvements in the game by just having conversations with people after like literally like 100 hours a week in this server, like just grinding smokes and placements and spots and stuff like that. That just simply after a game, I could just sit and talk to one of my teammates and be able to like recap a couple rounds, maybe potentially watch a demo, and say, hey, see when you were coming up, Cat, like how you were coming up this angle, like you may want to peek over the smoke this way, or you could have done this, or whatever. Anyway, so like, share, subscribe. I will be making more, and like I said, I'm not going to be sugarcoating this things that I see in the game. Some of them are positive things, some of them are negative things. So I do think, the respect thing with throwers, that potentially there has been less. I don't know. But then there's like more kind of like in between people that just like have lack of respect for the game. And then contrasting to that is this more passive European style of game that's trending, and that actually requires giving the other team a lot of respect. This is something that I have a problem with, like as an aggressive player. That's essentially not what you do. Um, when you're a passive player, when you're playing a passive playstyle, you're giving the other team as much respect as you can possibly give them. And so respect doesn't necessarily mean like respect, like how fucking scared you are of the dude who's working the spot you're picking. That's not, that's not the kind of respect. Is essentially the space and the spatial like awareness that you're giving to the other team. So like we're looking at Palace right now. If I'm T side picking Palace, or I'm CT side watching Palace, so those two people are sort of like pitted against each other, and the guy Palace is going to work with this guy Ramp, and the guy watching Palace is going to work with this guy watching Ramp. So essentially, at any point in time, they could have crossfires happening, and you don't know what the communications is between the other teams. But generally speaking, if you want to just play it safe, you're in your T side Palace, you're not going to be pushing up on the balcony and peeking or flashing out or nading or making any fucking noise at all. You want to be as quiet as possible and play as far back as possible that you cannot be spotted, so that if the guy pushes up and peeks or is aggressive, that you can potentially get that pick. Or if it's an eco and there's multiple pushing, then you can get multiple picks. So that's giving the other team respect. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not trying to crush them. It just means that you're not telegraphing, you're not making noise, you're just kind of in the space, but you're giving them all of it, if that makes sense. Okay. So I'm not giving them any cues, any sounds, or any lack of sounds or anything. It's just, if nothing that's going to make them want to potentially push it. Like, I mean, in a 1v2 or 2v2 scenario, I might bait in the palace for my teammate, and it's quite effective to do that. But what I'm just talking about is at the beginning of the round on a pick strat, and you need giving a lot of respect to the other team. It makes it very difficult as an aggressive player because you're trying to play with your team. And so, on one hand, if you're like T side and you're entering, even if you die, your teammates, it gives you the numbers, and then you also have information, and that's a good thing for your team. But it's still not ideal. You never want to just like plan on being like, just taking the loss. You always want to like try to stay alive. You always want to like plan to win, plan to succeed, play to win. So um, when my team is playing passive, I have to play passive. That's just how that is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much better than my team I am. It's if they're completely throwing or something like that, then maybe I would just take one person on the team or even just hold a spot by myself and just like. But that's what I do when I do that though too. Okay, so just I'm hardcore emo, so maybe it probably like might even look that way on the team where they're just like whoa, and they like ask anybody that I've played with, and I've always been like this. I'm an aggressive player like that. That's not just my playstyle; it's also my bravado in the game, and so um. What was I saying about that? Oh, about the respecting thing. So yeah, if my team is playing passive, I have to play passive. But if my team's throwing or something weird, whatever weird going on, I just want to go kind of like do my own thing, but I also want to be able to follow the objective, then that's when I'll go somewhere like Palace and I'll play back really passive, and I'm essentially, whether my teammates are there running past me in the palace with fucking Mac 10s or whether they're all at B and there's nobody there, I'm playing the same way. I'm essentially controlling the A site by myself. And I could talk more about that and how that works, and essentially how if I have another 4 players that are relatively okay players and they can like work together, that we could pretty much win every round by doing that. Whether they're playing with big guns or SMGs or anything, I could talk a little bit about the 1-4 strategy. Sounds like super nerdy. It is like the 1-4. It's not the 2-1-1. It's not the 1-3 or the 1-1-3. It's the 1-4. Okay. You guys are probably familiar with that now, because this next level, like Inferno, like play like 1 in the A side or like, whatever. You may be used to doing that a little bit CT side, but I'm talking about like T side. So anyway, it's basically the same thing. What it is essentially you're like putting your fingers on the pulse of what's going on in that space, and that's it. And you're not really interacting with it. You're just kind of letting the cards fall, so to speak. So you start to see what some people's cards are, like everything from a decoy, a smoke, a lack of a smoke, the sound of different guns. You can tell whether people are on an eco or like whatever. A lot of times I do a lot of telegraphing. I do a lot of running around spamming my weapons. And I love decoys. Decoys are my favorite addition to Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Anyways, mollies are pain in my ass. Like seriously the bane of my existence. But decoys are dope because I love messing around with the sound and telegraphing around. So yep, this video is going to take a long time to upload. I hope it was very interesting for you, and we're having a happy holidays. It is freezing, but hopefully not snowing here. And yeah, my internet went down. I didn't get enough solar panel power up on the mountain. But it's been fun. I know you guys love hearing me rant and my beautiful voice. So like, share, subscribe. Please, you know, do the sharing thingy and comment. Commenting is great because that will let me know if you prefer one type of content or another, or just say what's up. All right, peace.